would share with you my 2023 favorite coloring supplies. So all the things I've really enjoyed using this 2023, from my creative planner to my pencil sets to my pens and all sorts of tools, all the things I've found to be very helpful and things that I would recommend that you try or experiment with and see how you find them. So the first thing that I really enjoyed in 2023 was my Creative Companion by Ruby Charms Colors. Now, I'm not known to be very good with journals. I tend to pick up a journal, do a few days, maybe a couple weeks at a time, and then I can go months without touching a journal again, or weeks, depending on the style of the journal. So when I saw the 2023 Creative Companion, I thought it was a good idea to document and help me with my coloring channel. But I was a little bit reluctant because I wasn't sure how well I would stick to it. So I got this planner in, I think it was February. Yeah, February. And I watched other videos on YouTube to help me know how to lay out my my coloring journal, sort of figure it out. And I wrote down hashtags, tried to keep track of the videos I had to finish, videos I needed to edit. I never got to coloring in the actual illustrations, but you know, this is how I laid it out. And March came by and I tried some washi tape and I carried on experimenting. April went by, then I got to June. I was still going strong, and all the way up until November, I carried on with this journal faithfully. I found it worked really well. It kept me on track. I could keep track of my completed webs, my completed pages. I used it to keep track of my color combos. I've got so many color combos in this book now that I still need to actually put together for you and bring you combo videos. And then I was able to put in ideas, keep track of my whips to complete. Yay, such a long list. Books I wanted to complete, all sorts of things. So this really helped me so much with my my coloring year. So I was very, very excited to find out that there is another one for 2024, which I have bought, but I'm going to do a separate video about how I'm going to use the 2024 Creative Companion, and it's not going to be what you expect, but I'm very, very excited about it. So I highly recommend the Creative Companion, or just a coloring journal. I mean, you could take a notebook and you could do it your own way. You don't have to buy something like this. It could be just a regular notebook, but this just really, I really enjoyed this, and I liked the different formats of papers, and I liked looking at the little coloring pages. Even though I didn't color them, they were fun to look at, and I liked experimenting a little bit with my own stuff. But yeah, so I definitely think journals are a good thing. Right, so pencils. What pencils did I use? Well, as you'll most likely expect, Prismacolor pencils are way up there. So if I just zoom you out a little bit. So this is the pencil bag I've got my Prismas in. It's not my favorite pencil bag, but it will do for now. So why do I like Prismacolor so much? I like that they are soft. I like that they are highly pigmented. I like that I can either layer them or I can smush them together. So I really find that they work well for my style of coloring, and I like the colors. I've got a beautiful range of blues. I'm still getting to work on the different ways of blending and combos for the greens. But I also really do enjoy the variety of grays. I find that grey comes into play in colouring and in art in so many ways, ways that I didn't really expect. The other thing I like is that I can buy the pencils that I need online, so I can replace my small pencils as I go, and I don't have to worry about buying full sets and having just all these pencils that I don't necessarily go through at the same pace. So I like that I can buy them open stock. And also I find Prismas work really well in almost most of my books. So I can use them in Kobe Rosanna's books, I can use them in Rita Berman, Hannah Carlson, I can use them on Amazon printed paper, and for the most part I hardly struggle with finding a match for my Prismacolors, whereas some of my other pencils are a bit more particular with the paper. So that is why these are such a big win for me. And I honestly find that, yes, they are a little bit pricey. They're a step up from budget pencils, but for me, they are worth the money, and I am so, so happy with them. Yes, sometimes they do break, and that does annoy me. But for the most part, I haven't had many issues with them, and they just are a pleasure to work with and to use. So I do recommend, or I do admit that I am a Prisma fan. But on the other hand, I also have used Polychromos, and I find Polychromos are just really, really lovely pencils. I think they definitely are best done with layers. I'm still working out my way of using polys, and I tend to layer them more. I like that there's less wax bloom on them. I do like that. The color is beautiful. I like the variety of pencils that you have with them. They definitely have more shades of purple than the Prismacolors, but I prefer the grays in the Prismacolor set. So I can use the Polychromos in Maria Trolle, Hannah Carlson, Magical Dawn, Kobe Rosanna's books. It is a bit more tricky, I find, to use these pencils in cheaper books. So I find the better the quality of paper, the more luck I have. I have found that using these pencils, though, does give me a bit of a slower coloring experience. I think it's just because they work better layered than blended into each other the way you would with Prismas. So yes, I want to work more with polys, and I really do like them. I just need to get used to them a bit more. I need to keep working with them. So next up is my Inktense pencils. Now, I love my Inktense pencils. I honestly am convinced I underuse them. I really am convinced I underuse them. So the range of colors is beautiful. I love that they're up to 100 now. As you can see, I've pulled out colors. I can use these in Hannah Carlson books, Maria Trolle books, Kobe Rosanna's books. There are books I haven't tried them in yet that I still need to test them in. What I love is that the Inktense pencils I can use as a base in my coloring and go over that with other pencils. And I find that that really works a lot in speeding up the process, but not every coloring book is suitable for wet media. So I'm finding I have become more particular with what style of books I buy. But yes, I love my Inktense. I don't want to, I think when they're down, I'm going to buy more. And I think these are a must-have. Either these or watercolor pencil set that you can use as a base or even build up and color with. I've loved being able to see that I can color only with Inktense pencils and still produce beautiful coloring. So yeah, there's so much you can do with these pencils, and I definitely am going to be using them more in 2024. Then my final pencil set is the Black Widow set pencils, which are newish to me, and I still need to get the skin tone pencils. But what I really like about the Black Widows, and I only got them this year, I had one of the sets for one of my sons, and he really enjoyed the Black Widow pencils. But after having actually experienced them myself, I think that they are absolutely phenomenal, and I'm hoping to use them so much more. They work really well in Kanoka Igusa books, at least the English version. So I have decided that I'm going to use these pencils only in those books, which will further encourage me to get to know them more, work on color combos and that sort of thing. I love the range of colors that they've got. And they do have some interesting grays, although their grays are a lot less than the Prismacolor grays. But I think they're a well-balanced budget set of pencils. So I've really enjoyed working with them, and I found them not identical to Prismas, but not too far off either, because I find if I blend with layers, it works, but I can almost smush them together. Not quite the same, but they are very good. And in Rita Berman books, they also work quite well. I still have a whole lot of other books to test them in. I am finding them on cheaper paper. They do seem to work, and I don't need to work the pencils too much. So I definitely have been pleasantly surprised by the Monarch pencils. Sorry, the Black Widow pencils. And then obviously we have the Neocolor 2s. Now I really do like using Neocolor 2s for backgrounds. I only have a small set, so I have the 30, I think it's a 30 set. And I can get them open stock, so I'm thinking of broadening my collection and getting some more browns. I need some more browns, I need lighter yellows, some more pinks. So I do want to grow my collection of the Neocolor crayons, and working with them is really, really great. I've found that if I am heavier on the crayon than lighter, I get a much richer pigment. I have less splotchiness in my coloring, and even using them as a layer or a base works really well. So I really do like my Neocolor 2s and look forward to slowly adding more to them. And they're a really good brand. What I also like is that I've had these now for 2 years, and I can be heavy on them and they still don't go down quickly. So I can really work with them, and they go, a little goes a long way is what I'm trying to say. Right, and then I have my Dovecraft glitter glue. Now these I can pick up for about £1 here at local shops in the UK. I've got just these colors. I also have the 3D pearl effects, which I don't use as much, but I really do like using these colors, particularly the green and the gold. They just add a lot of sparkle and shine to my pages when I use them, and they give a deeper level of glitter than a brush pen. So I definitely do like using the Dovecraft glitter glue. Then of course with Inktense pencils and Neocolor 2s, it's always good to have water brushes. I'm still testing out which water brushes I like. This one is the Pentel, and I do like the Pentel brand. I think it works well. I've had this now for I think 3 years, and they've lasted really well. The tips do fray, which I don't really like. But as far as the water squeezing the water and it coming out, it works. I've recently gotten the Derwent water brush, which also works quite well, and I'm still working it out. But I'm not convinced that the bristles the bristles have been used a bit much and they frayed quite quickly, so I'm not 100% sure if about this. I need to buy a new set and try them. I might even have a go at the Arteza ones and just experiment and see which of these I prefer. But I do definitely use water brushes. If I don't like the water brushes or I'm not in the mood for them, I use regular brushes and water. Then I use a makeup blush brush, and this is just to dust my page from any excess pencils and keep my page clean, so definitely love these. Then I've got the Prismacolor colorless blender, and this is working out really well for me. I'm learning how to use a blender and when to use it to save up on my pencils, and it really has helped a lot to speed up a bit of the process for me, and also get rid of those black lines. In Aries romantic country books, this has been a lifesaver. I've really enjoyed using it there, so I do think it is worthwhile using. I'm not convinced I would use a blender when I do skin tone, because I think the skin is worth using the actual pencils themselves and blending them with the pencil, because that keeps the skin tone bright and vibrant, whereas I find sometimes colorless blenders can dull down the pigment a bit. So those are just my observations and notes. I've loved my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. I love that I can squeeze it and I get more liquid out. I love using this over insect wings, fairy wings, on eyes, on night skies. So they just come in handy in a whole variety of ways, and it doesn't affect the page. So if I use the Dovecraft glitter glue, for instance, it makes blobs, and then when I turn the page over to color on the other side, it can affect how I color because I've got these bumps. Whereas with the Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, I can get a glittery effect without that bumpy paper. So I really have enjoyed this pen. Then as an eraser, I have the electric Derwent eraser, and this has been just fabulous. My only criticism about it is that as you work through the eraser, by the time you get to about a quarter left, then that it gets very difficult to keep going down. So you're throwing away about a quarter, or yeah, about a quarter of the eraser ends up getting thrown away, which is not really ideal, but these are very handy and I do like them. Then I have my Sakura jelly pens. So I've got the Sakura white jelly pen, and it comes, I normally use a number 8, and these I use just to white out black lines and add highlights. And then I've also recently purchased the glaze pen, and I like putting that on eyes because it just gives it a little glossy sheen. And then I've got the Jelly Roll Stardust Glitter Pens, and I love these because it doesn't matter how much wax buildup I've got on my page, they just glide over the paper. They add sparkle to the page. I can use them to cover up black lines. So I really do enjoy these. I enjoy these for writing and all sorts. So I love my Sakura Jelly Roll, and I'm thinking of even getting the Jelly Roll metallics and broadening my collection, because they've been such a delight. As far as sharpeners go, I use a little makeup sharpener. Now, I do buy them in bulk. However, I will only sharpen my pencils with the ones that sharpen very smoothly. If I feel that they're cutting too deep too quickly into the pencil and breaking the pencil wood, I won't use it. I will then put it aside and use that for just regular pencil sharpening. But when it comes to my Prismas, I make sure that the blade is as smooth and as gentle as possible. And I've had pretty good luck using it like this. I haven't had an excessive amount of pencil breakages with the Prismas and these sharpeners. However, I can't guarantee that that will always happen, but these are just what I use. And my concern with using electric sharpeners, because I do have an electric sharpener, is that I end up using up too much of the pencil, and whereas with this I feel I have a lot more control. I have tried the to-go sharpeners and they're okay, but I go through them every 3 to 6 months. I need a new one, and they're about £7 to £8 each time, and I just feel like that's just not conducive to success. So I found this so far has worked okay. And then I also use white acrylic paint, and I use this to help white out black lines, especially on Hannah Carlson pages. And I mean, it's okay. It's not brilliant, but it does help, and a little does go a long way. So I just have this and I use this. The other thing I love to use and use frequently in my coloring books is sandwich paper. So this is wax paper, and I get them in rolls or already pre-cut. I prefer it this way because then I can trim each sheet according to the length or the size of my book. So sometimes my coloring books are bigger than this, other times I do need to just trim it. But what I really like is it prevents my pages from transferring onto the other side before I get round to spraying them with a fixative spray. Sometimes I don't spray my pages because this covers enough of the page that there is no transfer. For example, if I show you my Magical Dawn pages, here you can see I've got quite a few in between, and now on this side this is done with oil paints. So I've put this page here, and there's not very much transfer onto the other side because these pages just help to protect from any transfer. And even like on this side, this is very clear, and here this has got like eyeshadow and all of that, and it just is nicely protected with these wax papers. So I really recommend using these. You just Google find it on Amazon. The other thing you could use if you don't want to use wax paper is just tracing paper, and then I either cut it to size or sometimes I fold it through. I have one page in here I did that, and it's over here. So this is just regular tracing paper, and I folded it over to the other side to just hold it secure. And again, it works just as well. So whichever one works best for you. But I really like the sandwich wax paper. It works really, really well. And then the other things that I really enjoy using is Pinterest. For instance, I can go onto Pinterest, I can search for any of the coloring books I have. I look through the finished colored pages to see if I can find inspiration. Sometimes I use it to find ways on how to color certain things that I might feel a bit unsure of, or maybe I can't identify, and seeing other people's colored pages really helps me with that. I use the same for Instagram. I really enjoy using Instagram because I get to see a whole different variety of finished pages, and I just put in the hashtag and pull up all the beautiful colorings that the coloring community have created within the coloring book that I am wanting to color in. And this really helps me to piece together ideas. Sometimes I will also use Pinterest or Instagram to find actual real life examples of the illustration I want to color in, and this will help me with planning my color combos. It will also help me get ideas of lighting or atmospheric backgrounds that I want to add. So I really use Instagram and Pinterest in sort of a medley, so to speak, because it's not just for finding people's colored pages, it's to piece together in my head all the ideas I've got in a visual way, and somehow that comes together and creates the finished product that I am after. And sometimes I get it right, sometimes I change my mind, but it's just my way of building those ideas in my head. And then finally, the last thing that I really believe is probably the most important is time and patience. For me, coloring is an outlet. It's a way for me to get absorbed and totally lost in something, and that process is something that I need as part of my self-care habits and just nurturing myself. So I need to get lost into a world of creativity in various forms, and coloring really meets that need. But in order to do that, I need the time. I generally need a good hour to 2 hours to be able to do that. I also need a lot of patience with whatever page I'm coloring, patience in the process, that as I layer up and work and progress and deepen my knowledge and understanding of art, that all together comes through in my coloring pages, but also the enjoyment of the process and not rushing myself to necessarily complete a coloring page within a certain time frame or get a certain number of colored pages finished by the end of the month. But just to color what I can and do the best that I can. So I do find that time and patience are two very precious commodities and necessities in my coloring journey. And then finally, I do use washi tape to create borders and to try and help my contain my watercolor from spilling out onto the other side of the page. And this also works really well to create frames. So using washi tape has been really, really helpful and a great trick. All right, everyone, that is the coloring supplies that I've been using throughout the year, the things that I've enjoyed the most and have reached for the most. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing this with me, and let me know in the comments below what are some of your favorite coloring supplies for 2023. Until next time, everyone, take care and happy coloring. Bye for now.